Untitled.com.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, cause I can't wait much longer.
As we discussed, the party platform is the outline of the ideals of the two main parties, and so there may be questions on the AP test that address specific party platforms from 2004, 2008, and 2012. So I'm just going to quickly highlight these for you. In 2004 and 2008, the hot button issues were very similar. They dealt with topics such as abortion, gay rights, and war in Iraq. The Democrats believe in a woman's right to choose. However, the abortion should be safe, legal, and rare, whereas the Republicans supported an amendment that would ban all abortions except in the case of rape or incest. I'm sorry, ban. Gay rights. Democrats were against a federal constitutional amendment that would define marriage as a union of a man and a woman. Republicans, conversely, were in favor of this amendment. And in terms of the war in Iraq, which was just, less than 2 years old, the Democrats were critical of the way that President Bush was executing the war, whereas Republicans made the case that the war in Iraq was part of the global war on terrorism. And in 2008, the same hot button issues existed. There were a couple of miscellaneous issues that reappeared as one of the hot button topics. We can see that the stance on abortion and gay rights were similar. In terms of the war in Iraq, Democrats favored a quicker drawdown or withdrawal in Iraq than the GOP party, the Grand Old Party, the Republican Party, whereas the Republicans believed, again, that it was combating the war on terrorism at a global level, so it was important that troops remain. Democrats favored a new approach to health care, and Republicans favored less government regulation in regards to the economy. And so those were two other differences that were brought to the forefront in the 2008 election. In terms of the 2012 election, both parties stress economic issues and national security issues, and the stance on social issues remained the same. So in terms of healthcare, Democrats supported would-be President Obama's Affordable Health Care Act, and Republicans supported the appeal of what they called Obamacare. Job creation, the Democrats pointed to the number of jobs that were created since the president took office in 2009. However, the Republicans pointed out President Obama's failure to reduce unemployment rate to under 8%. In terms of labor unions, Democrats supported labor unions. Republicans were critical of labor unions. And in terms of tax cuts, Democrats wanted to repeal the Bush-era tax cuts for those who made more than $250,000 a year, and the Republicans were against the tax cut repeal. And so that just gives some general party platforms on those main issues. Let's quickly finish up by looking at third parties. And third political parties are ideological, they're very single issue oriented and personality driven. They often influence the party platforms of the Democrats and Republicans. And some examples of major third parties that have had an impact in general elections include the Populist Party, which their real movement began in 1862 and lasted all the way to 1908. And then George Wallace's Independent Party, as he ran on the independent ticket for the presidential election in 1968, and Ross Perot's Reform Party in the 1992 election. And both of those candidates, George Wallace and Ross Perot, quote-unquote, stole votes from the two major party candidates. And Ross Perot, I believe, even got as many as 20% of the popular votes, which was really unprecedented until that time. So that is where we are going to leave with political parties. Good times, good times.
Much longer, man, I've been waiting all night now. That's how long I've been on ya. I need you right now. I need you right now. I don't know if you get a man.
This is a Mark Ronson exclusive, Sid.